This is a sensitive and complex topic that has been the subject of much scholarly discussion and debate. Here's an article that approaches the marriage of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, from a historical, cultural, and comparative perspective to provide context. Understanding the marriage of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. In historical context, the marriage of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, when she was very young, is often a focal point of debate, especially when viewed through a modern lens. However, understanding this event requires placing it in historical and cultural context, examining traditions in other religions, and considering sociological factors in pre-modern societies. Before we proceed, please like, comment, and subscribe to help us with the YouTube algorithm. 1. Marriage practices in historical context. During the time of the Prophet, 7th century Arabia, early marriages were customary and culturally accepted. Societies of that time, including Arabian, Jewish, and Christian communities, often arranged marriages for young girls, and these practices extended across various cultures and regions. This was partly due to the average life expectancy, which was significantly lower than today. Thus, it was common for people to marry and start families at a young age. In Jewish tradition, for instance, Rebecca was reportedly around 3 to 14 years old when she was betrothed to Isaac, Genesis 24. And some historical interpretations suggest Mary, the mother of Jesus, was quite young when she married Joseph. Marriages at such ages were not considered inappropriate by the standards of those times, but were, rather, the norm in many cultures. 2. A cross-cultural and historical perspective. Even up until the last century, it was not uncommon for marriages involving young brides to be accepted and practiced worldwide. Many countries allowed marriage at young ages just 100 years ago, including in Europe and the United States. For example, in the 1800s, the average age of marriage was often in the mid-teens, reflecting societal norms that were still focused on family formation at an early age. When evaluating historical practices, it is essential not to impose modern standards on cultures and traditions of over a millennium ago. These societies had distinct values, beliefs, and needs that shaped social norms, which were different from today's standards, but were suitable and functional in their context. 3. Quranic and Hadith. Contexts. Islamic scholars point out that Aisha's marriage to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was accepted within his society. The marriage was conducted with the full consent of her father, Abu Bakr, a respected leader of the community, and was met without any objection from the community of believers. Furthermore, Hadith literature records that Aisha held a prominent and honored position among the Prophet's wives, contributing significantly to Islamic teachings and traditions. In Islam, marriage is deeply rooted in mutual respect and protection. The Quran emphasizes the importance of protecting, honoring, and supporting one's spouse, and Prophet Muhammad's, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, treatment of Aisha and his other wives demonstrated these principles. Aisha became one of the most important transmitters of Hadith, offering insights into Islamic jurisprudence, ethics, and the Prophet's life, which is a testament to her respected status. 4. Criticism. Through a modern lens, the pitfalls of anachronism. Modern critics often view this marriage through a 21st century lens, disregarding the historical and social context of the 7th century. In that period, early marriages were part of the social structure across many regions, religions, and cultures. Applying contemporary Western norms to a different historical context can lead to misunderstandings, as it overlooks the values, customs, and realities that shaped early societies. Criticisms targeting Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, for this marriage may stem from misunderstandings of history and culture or from Islamophobic motives, aiming to undermine the Prophet's character by projecting modern interpretations onto ancient practices. Islamophobic narratives often selectively ignore similar practices in other religions, such as in early Judaism and Christianity, or in pre-modern Europe, which reveals a bias rather than a genuine concern for historical understanding. 5. Recognizing Aisha's important role in Islam. Aisha was not only the wife of the Prophet, but also one of Islam's most prominent and influential figures. She transmitted more than 2,000 hadith, playing a vital role in preserving and spreading the teachings of the Prophet. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Her knowledge, intellect, and contributions to Islamic jurisprudence make her a revered figure. Aisha herself spoke of her happiness and her close bond with the Prophet, highlighting that their relationship was built on respect, understanding, and intellectual companionship. 6. Historical acceptance. Across religions and cultures, historical accounts show that early marriages were not unique to Islam, but were practiced in many religious and cultural traditions, including Judaism, Christianity, and pre-modern Europe. These marriages were culturally appropriate for their times and were viewed as fulfilling societal expectations around family, community, and lineage. Moreover, while practices surrounding marriage have evolved, the historical acceptance of early marriages across various cultures demonstrates that this was a common part of human history and cannot be singled out as an issue exclusive to Islam or to the Prophet Muhammad's, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, life. Conclusion, context and understanding. The marriage of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, should be understood within its historical and cultural framework, recognizing the norms and values of the time. Today, societies have developed different standards around marriage age, shaped by changes in life expectancy, educational structures, and legal frameworks. The societal norms of 7th century Arabia, and indeed the pre-modern world, are far removed from modern practices, and applying contemporary standards retrospectively is not only anachronistic, but also unjust. In sum, the marriage between the Prophet and Aisha reflects the customs of the time and is consistent with historical practices observed across cultures and religions. Rather than using historical practices as a basis for criticism, it is essential to approach such topics with historical context and cross-cultural understanding.
We have an online question, and that is a marriage of Isaac and Rebecca. Isaac was decades older than Rebecca was. How did that work?
Well, two things. Number one, the maturity of those times are much different than now. Even Rebecca was only 3 years old when she got married. A 3-year-old then was equal to, who knows, probably a 20-year-old today. The maturity level was much higher than it is today. It wasn't like I married a little girl 3 years old. That wasn't the case at all. Even physically, she went through the water for all the camels. So she was a little girl 3 years old. How could she throw a little girl? So physically, she was certainly much stronger, and spiritually, and her maturity level was much stronger than the 3-year-old today. We can't compare it. That's number one. Number two, the whole idea of marriage was a lot different than today by many people. Marriage was not just getting together, enjoying each other, and having good times. Those times, good times means getting together, serving God, having a family that's going to be a family of Torah and abiding by the laws of the Torah. That was what the purpose of marriage was, to have children, to bring them up according to Torah standards. So the whole idea of marriage is a lot different than today. And therefore, even things today seems like a mismatch, because people are not on that level of greatness to make a marriage work according to spiritual standards. They had a much more spiritual level, and they were able to make marriages which might not be manageable today. They were manageable then.
Okay.
This is by a non-Muslim professor. This shows the years of marriage legally in the United States. In 1885, in the state of Delaware, what was the minimum age of marriage?
7 years old.
not engagement, marriage. 1400 plus years ago, age of marriage for women was when they would hit bulugh, meaning when a girl physically matured, they got married. Aisha radiallahu anha, she was at an age where she was already engaged. This is very important. They waited until she had physically hit maturity before consummating the marriage. The age of Mary, according to the earliest Christian manuscripts, when she got married.
12 years old.
Joseph was 90 years old when he married a 12-year-old. Your sources. This is Rashi's commentary. Jewish biblical law. When is she halal to be married? How long did he wait for from her birth?
3 years, and he married her.
Isaac, according to the Bible, was 40 years old when he married a 3-year-old Rebecca. Verses. When you want to come at us, bring it.